Hey everybody, Scott here. Drinking more tea. Today we're going to be drinking the oldest tea that we sell. So, yeah, it's without further ado, it's the 1990 CNNP 9016. And so this is the original 9016. 1990 was the first year they produced it, and this is the first year. They also produced the 9016 in, I think until 96 or 97. So you'll see a few of them on the market. Some of them are, some are real, some are older than this one, and there are a lot of fakes as well. However, as I have told people on the listing for this, and once you taste this tea, you'll understand why it's authentic and why it's incredible tea. As it stands right now, we've got, I think, 12 reviews, 12 5-star reviews on the site on it. So it is a very popular tea. And it is, in fact, the oldest tea that we sell, and being a ripe tea, as well. So wish we had some shungs from 1990, but that the price would be much, much, much higher. So, yeah, let's get to it. It's a 250 gram tocha, and I'm going to be brewing it in the larger silver teapot today. So, but this is an entirely Kunming stored tea. So this has been stored in Kunming since the tea was produced. So as of now, roughly, I don't know, 28 or 29 years. So that's quite a long time, perhaps older than even some of you watching out there. At the time, CNNP was, along with Kunming Tea Factory, were kind of, in Xiaoguan, were kind of the main three teas that you would find. CNNP was kind of like it's China native national products import export company, and so they were the original kind of state-owned tea company that overran all of the kind of the tea exporting from Yunnan. Not to say that there weren't other teas being produced at that time by smaller producers. There were, but there were few. But anyways, let's get to it. I'm going to wash here. And this is a very clean tea, and I think one of the reasons it's so interesting is that even after so many years, and that was a long wash there, so I'm actually going to give these just a little touch of a rinse. And then I'm going to drink it, because it's very clean tea. So, but yeah, what's nice about it is that the tea has, with age, it's still maintained a lot of its, original flavor. What am I doing here? Nice tea soup. And this is just, again, this is a wash. Fairly tight compression, not super tight. I think it's loosened up a little bit. But whoops, I'm clumsy today. Oh, but the smell of this, I mean, this is literally just fills the room. Oh, really hard to describe the smell too. A lot of people say like a camphor type smell. It's a little bit of that little spiciness. And just really sweet as well. It's so hard to describe what I would describe, what I call kind of like especially with Ripe Pu-erh, what you call chenxiang. Chenxiang is like the aged aroma and the aged taste. And it's like, how do you describe the tea sometimes? And the word that just comes to mind, or the characters that come to mind, are chenxiang, which just means aged aroma, and it really has that. So if you don't have a reference for an aged Ripe Pu-erh, particularly a Kunming dry aged Ripe Pu-erh, this would be the perfect one. So sweet. And this is just going to get better. That was just a wash right there. I didn't want to waste the wash because, frankly speaking, this is also one of the more expensive teas that we sell, particularly ripes. Yeah, nice. Dark, but if you hold it up to the light, it's quite clear despite being fairly dark. It's a nice... The other thing about this tea is it's fairly tippy as well, which, you know, a lot of the older Ripe Pu-erhs that are still available and on the market tend to be a lot more coarser leaf. But this one's actually relatively tippy as well, and as such, it really has a unique profile. Very sweet. Really hot there, so I'm trying to cool it down. I don't want to burn myself. But the other thing that's really interesting is a lot of people ask me, well, hey, how come you have a 1990 Ripe Pu-erh but you don't have a raw Pu-erh? And that's typically because raw Pu-erhs, once they get beyond a certain age, really just massively increase in price. If this were to be a true, CNNP aged raw tool, it would probably be well over $1,000 if it was from 1990 and it was Kunming dry aged. This is just under $300. So, you know, again, that's quite a bit cheaper. And in some cases, ripe teas can be, you know, a tenth of the price. An aged ripe tea can be a tenth of the price of a raw tea. The other thing that's interesting. Oh, let me drink this and I'll. This has something that I would call like a kind of a dried broad bean. If you've ever had like dried fava beans, they're really interesting. In China, they take them and they dry them and they bake them, and they have this, like, I don't want to say chalky, but like a kind of like a mealy kind of taste to them. But the aftertaste is very nice. I feel like this tea has kind of that beany taste to it, a little bit of a, you know, and then there's something, I don't want to say smoke, but something like hints of smoke, but not really smoke, and then very sweet. Get some more tea in here. This is still in chunks here. We're far from even, this tea is not even peaked yet, not even close. And that was just the first infusion after the wash, but there's still some good chunks floating around in here. Sweet, viscous, spices, camphor, and it's really pungent too. It really hangs on, and I think that's the interesting thing about that I was saying about this tea being Kunming aged, is it's still quite powerful. It's got good chachi, fairly strong, especially for Ripe Pu-erh, and it's got a lot of character and it's got a lot of strength as well. If this had been stored in Guangdong for this many years, it would be a completely different. Oh, excuse me. Oh, tea got me. Sometimes some of these old teas also really, they have a very calming effect. You know, they can be stimulating on one side, stimulating like in a dreamy kind of way, but also very relaxing as well. Just high pour here. Must be something stuck between the lid and the pot. Oh, this is gonna be, wow, thick, briny. And this is our, I really like this chai. This is our jade handled. It's a little kitschy. I call it the jade handled glass chai, and it has a clip-in little stainless steel strainer that goes on top, and you just clip it in there, so you can just pour it in and then, you know, pour it directly out. I'm not using the strainer because, yeah, I don't really need it. This tea is, let's see here, keep going. Yeah, this tea is definitely has an effect. And it's just one of those, what's the word, ineffable kind of experiences to drink this tea. Ineffable, I believe this means something like that you can't really put it into words, or it's not clearly you know, defined, the experience of drinking this tea. But I remember the first time I had this tea, and I just thought, and I didn't know the price, I didn't know much about it. I knew it was an aged tea, and I remember getting really excited, and then thinking to myself, oh God, is it going to be like $1,000 or something like that? And it turned out to not be. It turned out to be, you know, relatively affordable for its age. So, and then, you know, the rest is history. Then we started, got some and started offering it, but it was a hefty investment for sure. That's the thing about Pu-erh, is it's, you know, it's kind of like you're always having to, when you come across teas that you're always having to make decisions about them. But making a decision about them, at least when I make a decision about them, you know, could be a very expensive decision. So, you know, you want to invest in the right teas. You don't want to give up an opportunity, because a lot of times, like teas like this, I mean, they're just gone, and that's it. You're never going to find them again. They're never going to be available again. So, carpe diem, as they say. Oh, wow. Oh, so thick. So good. And so good in the silver. I love this huge silver teapot. You know, and we're using about 13 grams in here. So, you know, this tea's well over $1 a gram. So, but I mean, it's not that much. When you're drinking in this teapot using 13 grams, you know, maybe that's $15 or something like that. But, you know, it's enough for 3 people to drink this tea. 3 people drinking an amazing 29-year-old tea, you know, for 15 steeps. Not a bad deal. You look at it like that. Not as tight as Yixing, these teapots. They're metal. They're usually pretty darn good, but they're not as tight as a good Yixing pot. And they don't build up a patina like a Yixing pot does. So Yixing pots, I've noticed, often get better. They have small problems with the lid and sealing between the lid and the brim of the pot. Can actually get better with seasoning. Real nice soup here. I'm gonna wow, what a joy it is to drink this tea. It's so good, and it just makes you, and it makes makes me feel really good too when I drink it. It's just so calming, and you know, the qi is definitely there. It's definitely nurturing kind of qi. And I'm not one to talk much about that, but I know a lot of people like to drink the older teas, and they find that the qi in the tea, raw as well, can actually help them sleep, which is interesting. I don't know if it would work for me, but the feeling of this tea is very relaxing. It's more than just the experience of drinking the tea. There's actually something in the tea, I think. The other thing about it is it really stays in the mouth. There's this real sweetness, viscousness, and then there's a pungency and a long-lasting taste in the mouth. And I guess it's just the aged ripe, the tannins and the aged ripe pu-erh that just kind of, they tend to sit there, but it's very pleasant. And it's never harsh. It's not even a little bit drying. There's no mustiness, not even the slightest bit of mustiness. I don't know why I'm yawning. I never yawn when I drink tea. But yeah, I'm starting to think, because this is the only one that I have in my own personal collection. I'm thinking maybe I need to get a couple of these and make sure that I'm able to hold on to a couple of these teas myself. In fact, a lot of times we end up selling out of teas that I don't have, or I only have maybe partially one cake of, and then they're just gone. And then I'm like, oh crap, I wanted to keep at least a couple of those, or a tong for myself, and they're just gone. So, being in the pu-erh business means having to live with a lot of, regrets, I think. But I've learned enough to know that, when I see an opportunity and I'm excited about something, I just kind of follow my gut and make it happen, Wow, this is a big teapot.
Yeah.
Nice burgundy. It's real clear. I'm gonna try to cool it off a little bit. Oh, I gotta reboil this water. Lucy's down here, she's sleeping. 2019, Lucy's gonna be 8 years old. She's been around for a while. Also, we are headed into Chinese New Year pretty soon. It's gonna be the Year of the Pig this year. And the Year of the Pig is, I guess it's a good year to have a child. Yeah, Year of the Pig is a good year to have a child, apparently. All right. Yeah, I would get a sample of this tea. I think you can get 10 grams and drink along with the video here if you get a chance. I think you'll understand a little bit more about how I'm feeling about this tea. It just gives me such pleasure to know that, in this world that we live in right now, where, and I don't want to be overly negative, but it seems like things are getting worse every day. And that's not true in every way, but I think I think a lot of people feel like that. What I find really encouraging is things like Pu-erh, which, you take these leaves and you process them into this, tea, and you press it and you keep it somewhere as long as you keep it, relatively well. And again, it's not rocket science. It's going to get better and better and better into the future. And if anything, I think that's kind of like an antidote to what's happening in the world, An investment as well. You're investing in something and it's going up in value. But more than that, it's more than Pu-erh is obviously more than an investment. It's really something that you can take and you can hold on to, and you can watch it, experience it changing over time, and something that bringing into the future is going to bring you pleasure in the future, and I think that's something that's kind of more similar to like relationships with people or yourself. Is that over time, as you develop them, they become rewarding. And I think Pu-erh can really be like that as well. And I think this is one I think that really just kind of clearly points out like how wonderful it is that you can just take this living thing, tea, and turn it into this, and then it's like it travels through time and it just gets better and better and better. Pretty incredible stuff. That's why I used to call, it's kind of cheesy, but Pu-erh tea is like tea in 4D, because I guess you have like 3Ds, the 3 dimensions, the 4 dimensions includes the dimension of time or something like that. And I think Pu-erh is like this, it's this time traveling tea, and it's traveling through time and it's changing, and it's a fascinating thing. Sometimes I sit and I contemplate if I were it, how I would experience, how my experience of time and everything would be. It's interesting to ponder. Anyways. I have had some very rare opportunities to taste some teas from the 1930s, 1940s, and 50s. I was very lucky to be able to drink tea with somebody visiting when I was in Kunming. They were visiting from Taiwan, and they brought teas that had been stored in Taiwan, and we were able to drink very, very old teas, and it was very interesting, very fascinating to be able to drink raw Pu-erhs that looked as dark as any ripe Pu-erh out there. Quite an experience. But of course, none of those teas were for sale, and if they were, they would have been hundreds, $100,000, $200,000 a cake. It's pretty incredible. And the gentleman that shared them with us and the others did it at no benefit to himself. So now we're getting more sweetness. Or not more sweetness, but sweetness and a little bit less pungency. The tea is definitely calmed down a little bit. It's not quite as strong as it was initially. For the sake of keeping the video kind of under control, as it were, I think we'll probably conclude it here, because this I'm going to have to boil another pot of water here to keep this tea going. And I'm definitely going to drink this tea, but not much else to say. Definitely check this tea out. This is an incredible tea, very special. And it really goes to show you that Ripe Pu-erh, if aged in a good, relatively dry condition, for even like close to 30 years, is still very, very good. And in my opinion, it will continue to change. Maybe not for many, many more years, but those people who say, oh, Pu-erh isn't worth aging past 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, that's just obviously not the case. Drink this tea and you'll know why. But again, thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed it. I hope I didn't get overly mystical on y'all. But anyways, that's just how I was feeling. Thanks for watching.